Hey everybody, it's Lee again, Life Hacks for You. Today we're talking about raised beds, and we're talking about something that's kind of near and dear to my heart because I love to use reclaimed lumber for anything I can. But we've got this raised bed which stands about nearly 4 feet tall because I'm a little bit taller and I kind of want it up at my waist height so it'll be real comfortable to work here without having to bend over or do anything else. And one of the things we've done is we've taken this and filled it most of the way with some hugelkultur, but mostly conventional soil that we took out of different low spots on our property. And then the last foot or so is this really nice composted topsoil, this, the expensive stuff. So in other videos, we showed some of the other things we've built and some of the stuff we've been working on. But today we're going to be working on building another bed, a different type than this one. This one uses 2x12s with all reclaimed old pieces of fencing on the inside to hold it all together. And we use a true 4x4 post at the corners, and it is on the inside. So I'm going to show you kind of how I go about doing that. And because 4x4 posts are a little bit harder to cut, I'm going to show you a cool way to get a straight cut on a 4x4 post. You going to hold that for me, Cannon? Thanks. So right here we have our line at 3 feet. I'm going to make this next bed's going to be 3 feet tall. And I'll just get my square on here. You can only hope that your 4x4 is square. And I'll line it up on the back side as well. And get... Actually, I'm going to move this. Big piece of wood. So we took this one, it's a piece of Doug fir, and then milled it to be true 4x4 dimensional. So now if you get in over on this side, you'll be able to see what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use a chainsaw. Make sure you use your safety glasses. This is an electric chainsaw, so I don't need to have hearing protection. It's very low decibels. But what I'm going to do is, this is my 3 foot side. I'm going to cut on this side of the line, and I'm going to start on the top and just make sure I've got a nice straight line. And once I've got a perfectly straight line here, I'm going to look forward and follow this forward cut the rest of the way through, and you'll be surprised. It'll be a very square cut. So here we go. We'll get started. So when I get done, it's a little chunky. There was actually a big knot right here, as you can see. There's a pretty good sized knot, so it has a little bit of a tough time getting through the knots. It got a little chunky right there at the end. But we got our board is 3 feet, right on the money. It's a little short, that's okay. That was just a problem when I measured it earlier. But our end cut is pretty square. I mean, it's a little bit off, but for what you're getting, it's perfect because we're not really looking for exactly square. Anyway, I'm gonna get these all set up. We're gonna do 4x4 posts in the center. We're gonna do 6 2x6 pressure treated. All right, so here we go. We're gonna talk about getting this frame put together. Now, if you take a look right here, you're gonna see I've got some 2x6s that are pressure treated. These are from a retaining wall that we did. Now the ground that I'm working on is not level, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a cool little technique. It's very sloped actually. I'm going to show you a cool little technique to keep this. I've got some 3-inch deck screws. Now I've got the inside portion square, and that's what is going to be most important. Just making sure that's square. That looks really good. It's right on the money. Now I'm going to drive in 2 screws, holding it at the right level. I'm going to get them in a little ways. And then I'm going to make sure that these are level both sides. All right, now I'm going to do the second one on the bottom and maintain that the bottom's level as well. I'm gonna kick it out if I have to a little bit. Okay, now that I have that, I'm gonna go down to the other side. Now you can see here, the board wants to pop up because it's not level, the ground where it's at, but that won't be a problem because we're gonna make sure that when we put it together, we push it down to level. Each edge is gonna be messed with until it gets right, until we get it just right. And then at the end, we'll show you the finished product will be perfectly level, which will be really cool. All right, when I say perfectly level, nothing's perfect that we do. All right, so we're at the next step. You saw us cut the 4x4 posts and build the frame with the 2x6s. And I talked about how the surface I'm working on is not even close to level, but here's how you get around that with the 4x4 posts. I'm gonna step on the outside edge, get it in as close as possible. Thankfully, it's pretty square. And then I'm going for center mass on the 4x4 post, and then I'm going just about 1.5 inches from the top. Just countersink your screw a tiny bit. Go from one side to the next, and that'll help really keep it nice. Now you can see when I lift it up on it, it's obviously the ground's not level, but when we get done with our structure, the structure will be level even though. And this is the last one here. All right, so next we're gonna put, on this last part, you gotta see it's overhanging quite a bit. But the cool part is if you're working as you go, because we got the bottom level, this top part's gonna be pretty level too. Watch out for the chainsaws, sir. Okay. So I'm just gonna pull it out to the right, get it just perfectly level as possible. Make sure it's gonna be in the right spot. I'll get these screws ready to go before they go in. And then get it right in the right spot, nice and flush. Okay, if we did a good job, it'll be pretty square. So, I don't want to toot my own horn, but that's really nice. So I will definitely be wearing hearing protection for this part. We're going to take an angle grinder with a diamond wheel for cutting tile, and we're going to use that to cut our tin roofing. As you can see, if that's in frame, these pieces were all bent. They were damaged in shipping, and I got them real cheap. This one's a decent piece. Just put a board across the outside edge of your cut, because if you're cutting down on something, I'm out in my grass, and if I was pushing down on it, it would pinch the saw, it would make it even worse. So I'm definitely gonna be using hearing protection. I've done it the other way before, and I'm gonna force you guys to listen to it because I'm not very nice. All right, it's break time, so we're gonna come in and have some food. And thanks to my special wife, Erin, for making us some navy bean soup. This is Cannon and Everett, and I'm gonna eat some food. Oh yeah. Yum,
Over
yum.
here we have some navy bean soup.
Yesterday we got our frame built, and we started to cut some siding, but we made a choice not to do the tin roofing on there on the sides. The way I built the frames, it didn't really work, and put some weight against it and kind of bowed out. And I really don't like working with tin at all, so hopefully we won't have to do that again. But I want to show you what we decided to do is just match what we did last time for the most part, but just make it a little bit different. And this is really rigid and it can hold a lot of weight. But what I'm doing is I've got just about two decent boards and then an older salvage board, because I had a stack of old boards and a stack of new boards. And I made this one 36 inches tall. The other one was 4 feet tall. So that way we could just cut all the 6-foot boards in half. The only other little secret is just go through and use rocks to level up your corners. And then once you get your corners...
Are you thinking about a quick trip to Home Depot? Forget about it. It's like Nazi Germany waiting in line for tennis shoes.
All right, so we've got our next step. We finished up the structure. Everything's finished up. We leveled it. We pieced off everything. And now you can see we did like a pattern. And the pattern is, we used a couple of the newer boards along with some of the recycled ones from the old fencing. I think it turned out pretty cool. And you can see it on this side. And then now on the inside, we put down 2 layers of felt. Now the 2 layers of felt are just to keep moles out of our garden boxes. They'll do a great job. This will allow water to penetrate down through the soil, but it won't let them get through it. With the weight of the soil on top, they haven't been able to dig through it yet. Maybe the super moles are coming, we don't know. But now I'm gonna get the hugelkultur part of it started, and I'm just gonna load in some pieces of rotted wood. So I've got some good stuff here. I'm gonna put it along the edges without messing with our felt too much. This will also keep the moles out. When they run into this, they can't dig through it. So this is another way, if you're able to cover the entire under section of it with wood, you'll have a better chance. But eventually this will rot away and it will become easy pickings for the moles. So that's why our felt's there. It seems to last forever. I got this felt from Costco, and I find it's really rigid and real strong, so it works really well. And I think it's a good one to use. So I'm just going to continue to put hugelkultur in here, lots of rotted wood, until I fill it up about 1.5 feet. And then after that, the rest of it's going to be soil from around here. And the last foot or so, I'm going to use some conventionally made soil, organic topsoil mix. So that way it'll probably be a 3-way of some kind. So sand, compost, and some natural clay. So get some of the mineral.
All right, so our boxes are all finished, and we filled them with some really nice 4-way, which is some fancy soil that we picked up from a local place. It's got a little bit of everything, and you can plant directly into it. Hopefully it's got enough nutrition to make everything grow right. And that's going to be on the top. And so we'll get these planted, but that's the boxes for now. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you get a chance, leave us a comment in the comment section. Like it if you like it. Subscribe if you want to see more.